Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are back again with another one. It is the Authority Project. I am Brian S. Arnold here, and I have my new good friend, Meggan Larson, in the house today. And she says she's going to show us or tell us why writing a book builds every entrepreneur's belief without fail. I'm going to add that on there too. So, is that right, Meggan?
That is right. I am with you. Let's put our stamp on it without fail. 100%. It's absolutely true. I love
Awesome,
it.
awesome, awesome. But we shall see. We shall see on this amazing episode, this 4th of July weekend episode of the Authority Project.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, feast your eyes and tune your ears. It's that time again. We are live with another episode of The Authority Project. It's the video podcast streamed on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Periscope, where we talk to digital marketers, business coaches, and creators of all kinds on how they've built authority in their field and how you can mimic their success. Developing authority, building your audience, and attracting better clients to your own business. Now, without further ado, let's bring to the virtual stage your host, Brian S. Arnold.
And we are back with another one, folks. It is Brian S. Arnold here, your host. And we are back with another episode of the Authority Project. You are the project. We want to slap authority to your name so you can sell more of what you're great at. And I had Meggan in the virtual stage today. How are you doing, Meggan?
I am doing amazing. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Well, I'm honored to have you on, and I'm excited about the topic. Very much excited about the topic because I am going to be reorganizing my book this weekend. I'm putting that out there to the universe here for everyone listening and watching now. So it's out there. So, but before we dive in, Meggan, can you tell us, first of all, who you are personally and then professionally?
Yeah, so personally, I am a mom. I've been married for over 13 years now. I had to think about that. And I homeschool my kids. And yeah, I'm just like a total mompreneur who just loves spending time with their kids. And that's really why I started homeschooling, because I wasn't ready to send my daughter to kindergarten yet. And I was like, you just stay home with me for another year. And then it just, she's 11 and still at home. That's okay. Awesome. So that's me personally. Professionally, I am an entrepreneur. However, for 13 years, I completely failed as an entrepreneur. I mean, in those 13 years, I think I maybe made like $7,000 in that entire time. I have made tens of thousands of cold calls, and it was not fun reading a script, doing all the things I was told to do. And even the experts couldn't figure out why I was failing because I sounded just like them. So it was really, really frustrating. But I have found that there is actually a key to success, and that's just been huge for me. And so now I'm on the other side. My husband's at home full time with us, and I make 6 figures a year, which is crazy to me. So that's me.
Well, you paid your dues, obviously. So that's a great story. See, you have a story to tell. And I think that's the same kind of story that most people are acquainted with. So no worries there. So can you tell us now, Meggan, what do you have a daily routine?
A daily routine. I spend the morning with my kids and my husband and the dogs, and we're very much homebodies. And then I eventually get to my planner and figure out what I have going for the day. But I really just spend a lot of time in creative mode. Whatever happens for the day is really just what gets thrown at me, in terms of like, if I get a new idea for something, then I am all in. And I'm just really divinely led. So I wouldn't say that I have like a regular schedule, but I have some supplements that I use regularly and that kind of thing. So that gets done. But for the most part, I'm just open to whatever direction I feel like going in for the day. And it has served me really, really well over the
Hey,
last year. So I'm
that's
sticking
good.
with it.
That's good. Hey, whatever works. I like that. I like that.
Yep.
So now, Meggan, let's get into it. Why writing a book builds every entrepreneur's belief? Why is that? Why do you believe that?
I honestly realizing that after 13 years of failure and understanding that the reason I failed for so long was simply because I didn't believe in myself. I wrote a book in December, and it changed everything for me. What it did was just show me, number one, that I could start and finish a project. A lot of entrepreneurs are kind of stuck in that forever not finishing anything, having a whole bunch of things on the go, but not actually finishing something. And then getting the book in your hand, which is like this tangible, there's proof that you can
Yeah.
finish something from start to finish. And when you publish a book my way, and I'm gonna just preface that with my way,
Okay.
because I have
Okay.
a very specific way of, and it's self-publishing, so I don't go the traditional publishing route, but I show people how to get number one categories on Amazon. And
Okay.
so when you can say that you're a best-selling published author, that just does something for you. And seeing those badges beside your book and your face, if you put your face on the cover, then
Right.
it is just like the most exciting, exhilarating feeling ever. And I feel it for my clients too. It's kind of funny. I get
So,
as excited for my clients when they get number ones because it's just I know how it feels.
right.
And also when you are writing a book, it's like it opens up your creativity and you start to think of all the different ways that you can serve your clients and that you can show up for people. And so I've worked with many people who were just writing a chapter for a book, and all of a sudden they had all this clarity on how they could serve people and what they could do with that. And it was just such a cool experience to see that happen. So that's kind of like my secret for people. I'm like, if you're struggling with belief, go ahead
Yeah.
and write a book and let's see if you're still struggling afterwards.
So it's the accomplishment, right? It's the point of actually getting to done. This particular thing is finished. Whereas a business, even though you can obviously work the business through your book, obviously too, but a business that you don't know when the ending is going to be. But if you write a book, you can say like this is mine. This is what I did. Now I like how you said that. Do you also think that there are some things, and I think this is a problem with a lot of people who are trying to own a business, that they don't see a finish line. They don't see the finish line, and they maybe they are in a point where they don't feel like they actually have accomplished anything. So by doing that book, it puts that authority right there in front. Do you believe that?
Yeah, absolutely. And when you can tell someone that you've written a book on something, it just automatically gives you authority. I mean, you can't look at someone who's published a book and say, well, you don't really know what you're talking about. Because they obviously do, and they've published a book to prove that. And
Right.
so to me, I love that aspect of it, of just like automatic authority. Someone asks you a question about something and you're like, hey, actually, I wrote a book about that. And
Yeah.
it's really awesome to be able to do that.
Awesome. Now, I want to get to, do you have any sort of like formula? You say you have your own formula for writing. Do you have anything that you can give us, in like a 1, 2, 3 step right now, in that we can kind of, get sink our feet in real quick?
Yeah, you mean for writing the book?
Yes.
Yes. So the way that I love to write my own books and how I teach other people to do it is starting out with an outline and just knowing what you want to cover in the entire book, and then going further and outlining each chapter with some points that you want to cover. And that will help you determine how long the book is going to be. And depending on what you're writing, if you're writing nonfiction, you really want it to be somewhere between 10 and 30,000 words. So it's not actually a huge deal. Because some people, they think of writing a book and they're like, oh my goodness, I'm going to be writing for years. And it doesn't have to be like that. You can write a book in a very short period of time. Also, a tip that I like to give is looking through old journals or blog posts that you've already written, because chances are, if you're writing a book about something, it's because you're passionate about that topic. And so you've probably already written about it. And so you can pull from different places that you've already written and just expand on ideas and stuff like that. And it's just a really simple way of getting more material for your book. Also, always hire an editor, because we will always miss mistakes in our own stuff. And the reason for that is just because our brain knows what we meant. And so we'll read through something and we'll read it correctly, even if it's incorrect, because our brain is like, well, I know what you meant. And so it's really, really crucial to get an editor, because if you put a book out with typos and grammatical errors and stuff like that, that's going to lower your authority, right? If you write a book with typos in this day and age, especially. So it's not very expensive. There are some really amazing editors for pretty cheap, and not cheap, but affordable. That's a better word.
There you go. Yes.
Exactly.
All right. Affordable.
And the last thing for me is just the cover, making sure that it's eye-catching and that you like it. Because some people go with covers that they don't actually like because other people have told them that, well, that's the kind of cover that goes for your genre. But really, it's your book. So make sure you like the cover. That's what I do. I pick the covers that I'm passionate about, and I don't worry about anything else or what anybody's opinion is. And I've gotten the most compliments on my covers because people love them. So just saying.
There it is. I like that. So I definitely want to add on to what you said about the editor. I want people to understand that you're not talking about a proofreader. You really want an editor. You want somebody who can actually look in, because there are sometimes when I've written articles in ebooks, and my editor was like, "What does this mean?" So it's not about just a grammatical error. It's just like this doesn't make any sense. So it's not, then you look at it and you're like, "Oh, I thought it did at the time," but it does not. You are so right.
Exactly. Yes. Editors will make you a better writer, because you need to, like you said, you've got to explain what you meant by something. And if it's unclear to them, it's going to be unclear to your readers. And some editors can help you just develop your whole story. And working with my editor has been amazing. But you do need to have a bit of a thick skin, because sometimes your editor is going to come back and be like, you need to cut this whole thing, or, this doesn't make any sense at all. You should remove it. And so I think as authors, we can tend to get a little bit attached to our words, and it's, it's a project, it's our baby. And so we just need to look at editors like the coaches that they are, and their job is to just make your book the best it can be, and to just put you in the game in a really good position and just make you a better writer. So definitely editor.
Awesome. And I do like the thing you said about the cover, because the cover that I had before, now that I think about it, I don't like it. I think it sucks now. So I'm going to change that. But enough about me. Let's go on with my thoughts about anyone can write a book. You're right. If you think about it, anyone can write a book. But the fact is that we want to try to get some traction on the book afterwards, right? When it's all said and done. Because I see a lot of people with books, right? And they get very dusty. No one's reading it. No one's reading it because, the marketing is not there. So it's not just, tell us right now that it's not just about writing the book, but what kind of marketing should we be doing as a part of this whole plan. The intent of the intent of it really is to have people to read it. So how do we do that?
Right. And so, yeah, once you've actually written the book, because that's the first thing. Sometimes people get way ahead of themselves and they start thinking about marketing a book they haven't even written yet. It's like,
Right.
well, just write the book first. And then, I mean, I have a whole strategy in one of the courses that I have created to walk people through this. And it's really just getting it in front of people, getting the word out, connecting with people, letting people know that you've written it, because I see people who have written books and then they never talk about them again. And, you know, unless those people saw your one post that you made about it, they're not going to know that it's still available. So I actually let my people know once a week in my Facebook community, like, hey, just a reminder that I have this book, and my sales are steady all the time, which is really great. And you can also do ads if you want to. I work with a mentor who teaches us how to build our businesses without ads. And so I prefer to do it that way. But a lot of authors like to do the traditional taking out Facebook and Amazon ads and doing it that way. If I don't have to pay for ads, then I won't. So
Right.
there are definitely ways to do it without ads, but that is a really popular way.
Awesome. Okay, so we got that out of the way. And I want to go back to asking a silly question, because I think a lot of people want to know. Well, let me ask you this question like this. How long should a book be for you to get the right type of response from your book, like you're a real authority? You know, I figure if you're writing like a 20-page book, maybe, I don't know, maybe that's not, enough, or maybe 100-page book is better. But can you tell me, do you have any kind of opinion on that? Because really, it can be all over the place.
It can be, for sure. And that's why I was mentioning before, a nonfiction book is really, the sweet spot is between 10,000 and 30,000 words. My first book was about 11,000 words, and it's like 68 pages. And you're right, a 20-page book is going to look like a magazine. And it's not really authority building. Even, I've written more books since then, and they make my first book look like a pamphlet. But it was it was really impactful for a lot of people. And so if you can get the gist of what you want to communicate across in 10,000 words, then do it. There's no sense in writing extra just to thicken up your book. If you can make an impact in 10,000 words, then 100% go for it. But once you start getting, beyond 30,000 words, and it's like 40, 50, 60, then it's not likely that people are going to sit through the whole thing, especially for nonfiction, because they're just not as gripping, let's say, than fiction books, right? So if you have like
I want to dive into that after this, but go ahead, keep on going.
No, I was just going to say, if you have, like a giant meaty book, then it's possible that people will be like, oh my goodness, that's too much for me. But I'm the kind of person who does dig those books. So works for me.
So that's my next question. I want to dive into, like, what we should be writing. Because I've seen the marketers speak. We get this book, but this book is just a vehicle for you to get our course or get on a phone call and get a strategy session going, those kind of things. And there's no substance in the book. So what is your, but I've seen other people who actually put everything that they know, their entire thing, into books. And I'm riveted by that. And I'm still, I think I'm more attracted to that than some kind of book where it's just like a bunch of stories and stuff and these kind of things, and nothing of substance that really helped me. So can you speak to that? How should we be writing specifically for nonfiction books?
You definitely want to bring value to people, and nobody wants to feel like it's a bait and switch where they've bought your book and there's nothing of substance in it. And to get anything good, they've got to buy something else. That's
Right.
just frustrating, and it's not going to build trust with anybody. They're just going to be frustrated. So when I write my books, like, I give it all. I explain all the ways that this is going to help them. And that's what I like to do in the very beginning, in the foreword or whatever you want to call it, is to let them know what they're going to get from this book by reading it, by grabbing it and reading it. And then I walk them through really tangible ways to get to what they are going to get out of the book. Like, my first book is about forgiveness and, what it is, what it isn't, that kind of thing. But I give like scripts in there of like exactly what I do and what I say to forgive someone so that I can be free and I can move on. And I mean, the reviews that I've gotten have just been so incredible. And I went on to create a workbook to go along with it. And it's just a 12-week workbook using basically the scripts that I put in the book. But it's just like, it's a way for you to actually, write out whoever you have to forgive, because people hurt us all the time, right? So you kind of can't escape. You can't escape that. And that's done well also. And yeah, I am 100% of the opinion that you don't want to write a book that doesn't have any substance. And so when you put your heart and soul into something, I mean, don't hold back. Like, give them all the things, give them all the ways that this is going to help them, so that they can come away feeling, not just feeling like, oh, I read a good book, feeling empowered, feeling like they know now what steps they can take in order to improve their lives. And when you do that, they're going to come back to you anyway, because you've just helped improve their life.
Amazing. That's great stuff. I'm glad that you said that, because I had bought a book from a marketer, and it was totally bait and switch. What I mean by bait and switch, there was nothing in the book about, it was a book about writing a book, Meggan. It was a book about writing a book. And there was nothing in there about writing a book. It was just a book about, here's my one little thing that I do to write faster. If you want to know how to really write a book, come in, buy my course for $300. So very disappointed with that. So don't do that.
No. You can still have a course that goes along with it, but yeah, you should not be only scratching the surface and not actually helping them move the needle on anything. I mean, there's this really great book that I read last year called The Big Leap, and it was transformational for me. I mean, it changed my entire life, and it's a book. He also has courses and other, seminars and stuff that he does, but the book alone completely transformed my life. And he is someone that I would go and look at his courses and stuff like that because of how transformational the book was. So there's no sense in writing something that's not going to help somebody and hope that they're going to then think that your course is going to help them, because if your book didn't, why would your course? Right? Doesn't make any sense.
Right. I am so glad you put that together with that. So I got two more questions for you. Here's the first one. Okay. What is the legacy that you want to leave behind when it's all said and done, Meggan?
Do you mean for the world or for my children?
Everything, whatever it is. Yeah.
Okay. So I don't come from wealth. My husband does not come from wealth. We have nothing coming to us. So generationally, for our children, this is where things change for our kids. So, the patterns that we've experienced and lived, they change with us. And so I'm really excited to leave wealth for my children and their children and, for however long we have on this planet, who knows?
Yeah.
And, but beyond that, I really want to impact the world in just a beautiful way. I have a heart for orphans, for single dads who are being kept from their children, for people who have experienced a sudden illness but didn't have any savings. So they're now worried about how to pay the bills and how to heal from cancer. And so I have big plans for
Yeah.
all of these people.
Awesome.
And so I'm just excited to leave that kind of legacy on the world.
Perfect. I have one last question for you. And I ask this of all of my guests, Meggan. It goes something like this. There are people watching you now, and they'll be listening to you later. And they have similar goals, similar interests, and they want to do the same things that you're doing, helping people maybe write their own book, and so they can have that authority. So can you tell them in your own words, and I'll put you front and center, how they can become an authority in this space?
In the book writing space, it's really to, just write an amazing book, first of all, because that is where it starts. And like I said before, getting it out there, getting the word out there, and continuing to write. Because if you are expecting to, make millions of dollars off of a single book, it's not likely to happen. But the more books you write and the more that you get them out there, the more authority that you build and the more income that you build. There's a really great Facebook group that's called 20 Books to 50K. And that is literally the idea, right? 20 books, you should be making about 50K a year. And it can happen sooner than that. But the point is to keep writing. Don't just write one book and expect a lottery. Keep working at it, keep improving, hiring better editors and proofreaders and all the things that make a really good book. And just never give up on yourself, because you are worth getting your story out into the world. People need it. People need to be inspired by you.
That's fantastic. Fantastic, Meggan. I am so happy to have you on the show, to get you in here. I am honored. This has been a very great conversation, very great topic. And I want everyone to go and see Meggan after the show. Where can they find you after the show, Meggan?
I am on Facebook. I have a Facebook community called Women Entrepreneurs Transforming from Failure to Success. And I would love to welcome you in there. It's a really great space. And I do lots of training in there for free. And it's just an amazing group of people who are just impacting the world and loving every minute of it.
Awesome. Ladies, get in there. Ladies, trust me. She's the real deal. She's the real deal. She just told me that she has about 5 books working right now as we speak before the show. So if get in there, because I want you also to when you start writing, to contact her, because it's not just about writing a book, it's about what you do after that. That is very important. So if she can help you get that Amazon bestseller going, you really need to check her out and get that and look into that for real, because that will give you. Let me just say that I've seen books on Amazon where there's only two people giving them 5 stars, and that's not going to put you anywhere. So it's important that you find someone like this, to really mentor you to go forward with your book after you finish it. All right. So that's my take. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So much. Yeah. So I am done. I'm wrapped up. This is so great. Happy 4th of July weekend for people who are in the States. And, be safe out there. We still got a little bit of COVID going around. So be safe, be secure with your family. Mask on if you still need that in your areas. I know a lot of people don't now, but that's okay. So take care. And as I always say, remember, build it, share it, and they will come. We'll see you next time. Around.
And that's a wrap for this episode of The Authority Project. Thanks so much for tuning in. And if you like what you heard, we want to hear from you. Subscribe, rate, and give an honest review. Share and tell your friends so they can hear too. And for even more authority building tactics, be sure to sign up at theauthorityletter.com. Get free weekly content and ongoing digital product giveaways to help you on your entrepreneurial journey. We certainly hope you got a key takeaway, or maybe an aha moment from today's broadcast. Just remember, it's your authority. Build it, share it, and they will come. Until next time.